Namaskar, a warm welcome to World News, an Indian perspective on All India Radio. This is Navanita Adhikari bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring to you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India reiterates commitment to provide support to African partner countries in all defence-related matters. G20 delegates discuss key issues with emphasis on developing inclusive, action-oriented outcomes at ongoing Second Environment Climate Sustainability Working Group meeting at Gandhinagar in Gujarat. Government of India sanctions 800 crore rupees for setting up over 7,000 public electronic vehicle charging stations across the country. At least 39 people killed in fire at immigration detention facility in northern Mexico near US border. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announces suspension of judicial reforms following nationwide protests. Madrid Spain Masters 2023 badminton tournament begins. Olympic medalist PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal to lead India's challenge. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said India will continue to work with African nations to promote regional security, foster stability and enhance the defence capabilities together. Mr. Singh was addressing the first edition of India-Africa Army Chiefs Conclave organized on the sidelines of 2nd Africa-India Joint Exercise AFINDEX at Pune in Maharashtra on Tuesday. Mr. Singh reiterated India's commitment to provide support to African partner countries in all defence-related matters, including capability enhancement of their armed forces to enhance their economic growth and social development. He emphasized that the full potential of a nation's progress can be realized only when its security is ensured.
Today, Africa is home to more than 1 billion vibrant people, with more than 2/3 of them under the age of 35. If this human capital is supported with the right opportunities, it will become the growth engine for not just Africa, but also for the entire world.
The conclave was attended by Chief of the Army Staff General Manoj Pandey and chiefs and representatives of 31 African nations along with other civil and defence dignitaries. India's G20 presidency witnessed a series of significant deliberations and related events across the country on Tuesday. The G20 delegates discussed key issues pertaining to identified priorities with emphasis on developing inclusive, action-oriented outcomes at the ongoing Second Environment Climate Sustainability Working Group meeting at Gandhinagar in Gujarat. In her opening remarks on the second day of the meeting, G20 co-chair for India, Richa Sharma, emphasized the need to collaborate with the G20 countries and engage in an inclusive, consensus-driven approach and actions to address climate change. She reaffirmed India's commitment to facilitate tangible outcomes to build a strong foundation before passing on the baton to the Brazil presidency. During the meeting, 4 presentations were made by India on water resource management through various projects including Namami Gange. Later, briefing media at Gandhinagar, Chairman Central Water Commission Kushwinder Vohra said that during the presentation, the work done and achievements of Namami Gange were highlighted. He said the delegates were apprised that due to this initiative, the dolphins are reviving and their number are increasing. Mr. Vohra said a total of 183 sewage treatment projects have been taken up under the scheme with a treatment capacity of over 5,600 million litre per day. The 3-day meeting will continue till Wednesday. The first Trade and Investment Working Group meeting also began in Mumbai. The 3-day meeting is holding deliberations on how to accelerate global trade and investment. The second G20 Infrastructure Working Group meeting also began at Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. Ramnagar in Nainital district of Uttarakhand is hosting the 3-day meeting of G20 Chief Science Advisors Roundtable from Tuesday. The main meeting will take place on Wednesday, where the delegates will deliberate on the issues of common interest related to science and technology. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary on India's strides in commercial space sector.
In a major achievement for India's space program, the country's heavy lift rocket LVM-3 successfully launched 36 satellites for UK-based company OneWeb on Sunday. The 43.5-meter tall rocket carried the 5.8-ton payload into outer space from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Andhra Pradesh. The OneWeb satellites will be used for broadband communication, and this launch brings the total number of foreign satellites launched by India since 1999 to 422. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a tweet on the 26th of March 2023, congratulated NSIL, IN-SPACe and ISRO on successful launch of LVM-3. He added, it reinforces India's leading role as a global commercial launch service provider in the true spirit of Atmanirbharta. This mission marked OneWeb's second satellite deployment from India, highlighting the strong partnership with NSIL and ISRO. NSIL has executed a dedicated commercial mission on demand-driven mode for placing 36 OneWeb satellites in low Earth orbit using LVM-3 launcher. New Space India Limited, NSIL, a wholly owned Government of India company under the administrative control of the Department of Space, is the commercial arm of Indian Space Research Organisation. The primary responsibility is to enable Indian industries to take up high-technology space-related activities. It is also responsible for promotion and commercial exploitation of the products and services emanating from the Indian space program. The space sector has been opened up for private participation subsequent to the space reforms announced by the Government of India in 2020. Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Centre, IN-SPACe, is the independent nodal agency under DOS to permit and oversee the activities of private entities in the country. The reforms have authorized the public sector company NSIL to act as the exclusive public sector aggregator for both demand and supply of space assets and services on a commercial basis. This includes imaging, communication transponders and launch services. As a demand aggregator, NSIL will acquire satellites, launch vehicles and other assets developed by ISRO or the private industry. In its role as a supply aggregator, NSIL will commercialize assets and services like transponder capacity, imaging services and launch capacity on ISRO-developed satellites and launch vehicles. Messrs. Skyroot Aerospace, India's space tech startup, successfully launched Vikram-S first maiden flight from Sriharikota on the 18th of November 2022. This mission, named Prarambh, is the first private rocket launch mission in the country authorized through IN-SPACe mechanism. The Department of Space, ISRO, has been providing launch services for customer satellites since 1999 on board ISRO's Polar Satellite Vehicle PSLV. In September 2016, PSLV C-37 has successfully injected 104 satellites into orbit, the highest number of satellites launched in a single mission so far. With ISRO operationalizing its Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle GSLV and LVM-3 and building Small Satellite Launch Vehicle SSLV as a launch-on-demand vehicle, NSIL is in a position to offer and expand its launch services. The launches will be accomplished from Satish Dhawan Space Center, India's spaceport, located at Sriharikota near Chennai. GSLV, employing a cryogenic stage, is intended to carry heavier satellites of the order of 2,200 kilograms into the Geosynchronous Transfer Orbits GTO. The heavy lift launcher LVM-3 has enhanced the GTO capability to over 4,000 kilograms. The small satellite launch vehicle is intended to carry a 500-kilogram satellite to 500 kilometers low Earth orbit. With the suite of launch vehicles developed and operationalized by ISRO, NSIL offers comprehensive launch solutions for both ride-sharing and dedicated missions with a wide variety of flight-proven payload separation systems and adapters developed in-house for all categories of satellites. The Indian space program primarily focuses on deriving socio-economic benefits from space technology and its applications for national development. Over the past 5 decades, having successfully completed more than 100 satellite missions, over 70 launch vehicle missions, mission to Moon and Mars, and having embarked on the human spaceflight mission Gaganyaan, India is in the league of elite spacefaring nations.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that BJP governments across India are becoming synonymous with aspiration, development and progress, and it is a brand of governance of the party. Mr. Modi was speaking after inaugurating the newly constructed extension of the BJP central office in New Delhi on Tuesday. Hitting out at opposition parties, Mr. Modi said some parties together have launched Save the Corrupt campaign. He said the people of the entire country are happy with the action being taken against the corrupt.
भ्रष्टाचार ने हमारे देश का बहुत नुकसान किया है. दिमक की तरह देश को खोखला किया है भ्रष्टाचार ने. कि पहले की सरकारों ने किस तरह भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ कार्रवाई के नाम पर केवल खानापुरी की थी. लेकिन पिछले 9 साल में भाजपा सरकार ने भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ जो अभियान चलाया, उसने आज भ्रष्टाचार और भ्रष्टाचारियों दोनों की जड़ें हिला दी है.
Home Minister Amit Shah has said that India is growing as one of the fastest economy in the world because Prime Minister Narendra Modi takes all the stakeholders together irrespective of their political ideologies. Addressing an event, Bharat at 100 paving the way for inclusive and sustainable growth in New Delhi on Tuesday, Mr. Shah said that India can only be developed when the growth is taking place in every nook and corner of the country. He said in 2011 India was the 11th largest economy, but in the last 8 years under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, India has reached the 5th largest economy in the world. Expressing confidence that India can become the $5 trillion economy by 2025, Mr. Shah said due to the strong policies of implementation and infrastructure development, India will achieve the target of $5 trillion by 2025. The Union Minister said in 2014, India contributed 2.60% of the global GDP. As of March 2023, that contribution has increased to 3.40%, which is a significant achievement for the government. Mr. Shah said the Narendra Modi government has made a plan of 100 lakh crore rupees investment in infrastructure projects. The first batch of Agniveers is all set to be inducted into the Indian Navy. The passing out parade of about 2,600 freshly recruited Agniveers took place at INS Chilika in Odisha on Tuesday. The first batch of the Agniveers, which include 273 women, underwent 16 weeks of rigorous training at INS Chilika. The passing out parade was attended by the Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral R. Hari Kumar, as chief guest. Renowned athlete and presently the President of the Indian Olympics Association, P.T. Usha, and the former captain of the Indian women cricket team, Mithali Raj, also graced the event. Government of India has sanctioned 800 crore rupees under FAME scheme phase 2 for setting up 7,432 public fast charging stations across the country. The government has formulated faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicles FAME India scheme in 2015 to improve the infrastructure required for the large-scale use of electric vehicles. Heavy Industries Minister Dr. Mahendranath Pandey said a wide network of electric vehicle charging stations will be soon deployed across the country by oil marketing companies. The companies are Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum and Hindustan Petroleum. He said the installation is expected to be completed by March next year. At present, there are about 6,586 charging stations across the country. The addition of new 7,432 public charging stations will be a significant push to electric vehicles charging ecosystem. Dr. Pandey said this move will give a boost to the electric vehicle ecosystem in India and encourage more people to switch to cleaner modes of transportation. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur has said that Digital India has added more internet subscribers to rural areas in last 3 years from 2019 to 2021. Speaking at an event in New Delhi, Mr. Thakur said the reason for this increase is due to dedicated digital drives through BharatNet project and telecom development plans. He said that there has been a 200% increase in rural internet subscriptions between 2015 to 2021. Mr. Thakur informed that the number of internet users in the country has surpassed 700 million and the country has seen enormous growth in this area. Defense Secretary Girdhar Aramane and his Romanian counterpart Simona Coșacaru on Tuesday held a bilateral meeting on defense cooperation in New Delhi. A wide range of issues encompassing military to military cooperation, military training and courses, defense co-development and co-production and capacity building were discussed in the meeting. Defense Ministry said both the countries have signed an agreement on defense cooperation, giving further impetus to bilateral defense cooperation. Both sides also shared their perspectives on regional security challenges and expressed their commitment to work together to enhance cooperation in all defense sectors. The Lok Jam continued in both the houses of Indian Parliament on the 11th consecutive day on Tuesday. The Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha witnessed disruptions over several issues including the Joint Parliamentary Committee probe into the Adani Group matter, Rahul Gandhi's disqualification from Lok Sabha and his remarks on Indian democracy. Amid then, both the houses were adjourned for the day. The last date for linking PAN and Aadhaar has been extended to 30th June this year to provide some more time to the taxpayers. In a statement, India's Central Board of Direct Taxes, CBDT, said from 1st July the PAN of taxpayers who have failed to intimate their Aadhaar will become inoperative. At least 39 people were killed after a fire started in an immigration detention facility at Ciudad Juarez City in northern Mexico near the U.S. border on Tuesday. Mexico's National Immigration Institute in a statement said that injured people were taken to hospitals. It said the facility was holding 68 adult men from Central and South America. The cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained. Mexico's Attorney General's office has launched an inquiry. In Saudi Arabia, at least 20 Umrah pilgrims were killed and 29 injured when a bus overturned. According to Saudi media, the accident occurred as a result of a brake failure and took place on a road linking Asir province and the city of Aba. The victims were on their way to Mecca to perform Umrah. The deceased and the injured have reportedly been transferred to nearby hospitals. An earthquake measuring 6.1 on the Richter scale struck Japan's northern island of Hokkaido on Tuesday. Japan's meteorological agency said tremors originated off Aomori eastern coast at a depth of around 20 kilometers at 6:18 p.m. It said affected parts including Hokkaido, Aomori and Iwate prefectures. Japanese media outlets have so far not carried any reports of damage or injuries. No tsunami warning has been issued so far. This is the second earthquake to have struck Hokkaido in over a month. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to suspend a planned judiciary reform until the next parliament session after nationwide protests. Mr. Netanyahu made the announcement after 2 days of large protest against the plan. In a nationally televised address, Israeli Prime Minister said he wants to give himself and his political opponents time to seek a compromise over the contentious package. Israeli President Isaac Herzog welcomed the pause and said it is time for frank, serious and responsible discussion that will lead urgently to calming the angers. Immediately after Mr. Netanyahu's statement, the head of the country's largest trade union said it would call off a general strike that threatened to grind Israel's economy to a halt. Hungarian lawmakers voted on Monday to support Finland's accession to NATO, putting an end to months of delays and bringing the Nordic country one step closer to becoming a full member of the Western Military Alliance. Hungary's parliament ratified Finland's application to join the military alliance. The measure, passed with 182 votes for and 6 against, came after NATO and the European Union repeatedly postponing the vote after nearly all other alliance members ratified Finland's bid. Turkey is now the only one of NATO's 30 members not to have ratified Finland's NATO accession. Full unanimity is required to admit a new member into the alliance. North Korea unveiled new, smaller nuclear warheads as its leader Kim Jong-un called for scaling up the production of weapons-grade nuclear material to expand the country's arsenal. State-run Korean Central News Agency on Tuesday released photos of the warheads dubbed Hwasong-31 during Kim's visit to the Nuclear Weapons Institute. The agency reported in the institute, Kim inspected new tactical nuclear weapons and technology for mounting warheads on ballistic missiles, as well as nuclear counterattack operation plans. KCNA reports that the North Korean leader ordered the production of weapons-grade materials in a far-sighted way to boost its nuclear arsenal exponentially and produce powerful weapons. North Korea has been ramping up military tests, firing short-range ballistic missiles on Monday and conducting a nuclear counterattack simulation last week against the United States and South Korea. The High Court of Bangladesh has suspended for 6 months an order issued by the Bangla Department of Dhaka University requiring female students to keep their ears and faces uncovered during examination, viva and presentations. It has also sought explanation from the university why this order should not be declared illegal. The order was passed by the High Court bench of Justice K.M. Kamrul Kadir and Justice Muhammad Ali on a writ petition filed on the subject on February 20th, report news agency UNB. The order was issued on December 11th last year by the Bangla Department of Dhaka University. The notice had warned the violation of this rule will result in action against the student. To boost bilateral tourism between India and Nepal, the Nepal-India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, jointly with the Indian Embassy in Nepal, launched the Coffee Table Book, Religious and Spiritual Circuit in India and Nepal. On the occasion, Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, Sudhan Kirti, stressed that the relationship between India and Nepal is unique, as visitors don't need visa or passport for travelling between two countries. Now, a report from the business desk.
The Sensex fell 40 points to finish at 57,614. The Nifty also settled 34 points down at 16,952. Majority of the global stocks rose, while the US dollar eased after the deal backed by the US regulator of First Citizens Bank shares to buy up Silicon Valley Bank helped alleviate some of the recent concerns about the health of the banking sector. However, share markets traded in a narrow range as investors showed cautious approach. Southeast Asia markets logged gains except China's Shanghai Composite, which slipped marginally by 0.2%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng and South Korea's Kospi both climbed 1.1%. Singapore's Straits Times was up 0.5% and Japan's Nikkei rose 0.2%. European markets were trading marginally up in intraday trade. Global crude prices extended gains from the previous session amid supply disruption risks from Iraqi Kurdistan and hopes that turmoil in banking is being contained. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at around $78.10 per barrel. Back home, the gold price at multi-commodity exchange for April contracts was trading at around 58,800 rupees per 10 grams. Silver was trading at around 70,080 rupees per kilogram for the May contracts when reports last came in. In the forex market, the rupee appreciated around 18 paise to close at 82 rupees and 19 paise against the US currency. Rajesh Lake for World News, All India Radio.
The Madrid Spain Masters 2023 badminton tournament began on Tuesday. The fifth edition of the tournament started with the qualification round. First round matches will be played on Wednesday. Olympic medalist PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal will lead India's challenge at the BWF Super 300 event. Sindhu is seeded second in women's singles behind home favourite and Rio 2016 champion Carolina Marin. In the opener, she will face one of the winners from the qualifiers. Saina Nehwal will face a tough opener against Thailand's Blair Buchanan, seeded third. 2014 Commonwealth Games champion Parupalli Kashyap will start his men's singles campaign in the qualification round. Kidambi Srikanth is seeded fifth in men's singles. He will be up against Sithikom Thamasin of Thailand in his opener. Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Washington Post reports French workers ramp up strikes over retirement age, raising pressure on Macron. The New York Times writes Taiwan's ex-president heads to China in historic and closely watched visit. The Guardian writes Denmark lifts Brexit-related deportation threat for British nationals. The Business Recorder writes Germany rolls out red carpet for Charles III first foreign visit. Wall Street Journal writes Belgian authorities detain 8 over suspected terrorist threats. Le Monde writes 6 months of public consultations on the European project to ban forever chemicals. Stargazers worldwide are up for a treat with a once-in-a-lifetime cosmic spectacle as 5 planets will stage a rare spectacular event in the night sky this week. Described as one of the spectacular cosmic events to happen in the last week of March this year, 5 planets including Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Uranus will be aligned in an arc form along with the moon after sunset. Astronomical experts described it as an extremely rare astronomical event. NASA astronomer Bill Cook said the best time to catch the planet parade is on Tuesday. He said people should look to the western horizon right after sunset. Now a quick look at the headlines once again. India reiterates commitment to provide support to African partner countries in all defence-related matters. G20 delegates discuss key issues with emphasis on developing inclusive, action-oriented outcomes at ongoing Second Environment Climate Sustainability Working Group meeting at Gandhinagar in Gujarat. Government of India sanctions 800 crore rupees for setting up over 7,000 public electronic vehicle charging stations across the country. At least 39 people killed in fire at immigration detention facility in northern Mexico near US border. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announces suspension of judicial reforms following nationwide protests. Madrid Spain Masters 2023 badminton tournament begins. Olympic medalist PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal to lead India's challenge. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Denmark.
मन निश्चल राखे धन धन जननी तनी रे वैष्णव जन तू तीने कहिए.
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.